r/AskReddit by LaughWithMEmes. What's a cool fact about the human body that a lot of people don't know? Some people will cough if they put something in one ear. A very small percentage will cough if something is in either ear. It is called Arnold's ear cough reflex. I always cough when I Q-tip out my ears. I thought that happened for everyone. When I swab it out I can feel the tickle way deep in my throat. I don't cough, but I always feel a tickle in my throat when something is in my ear. I thought it was normal. Your liver can regenerate, and much faster than you think. I had a quarter of my liver removed, and a month later it was back. Edit. Fix typo, think not like edit. Thanks for the silver, Redditors. My first IDK, that's about exactly as fast as I want my liver to regenerate. You know the smell of rain, or disturbed soil? It's a compound produced by bacteria called geosmin, and the human nose is extremely sensitive to it. We can smell it at as low a concentration as 5 parts per trillion. Edit. Sorry for my confusing wording. The compound is called geosmin, not the bacteria. We can smell rain better than sharks can smell blood. I actually just learned about this. There is a podcast from Stuff You Should Know that goes over all this info. The smell of rain. The bone that supports your eyeball, called the orbital floor, is paper thin and has a large empty cavity called the maxillary sinus on the opposite side. When you get hit hard in the eyeball, instead of your eyeball itself rupturing, the bone underneath your eye breaks, which is called an orbital floor fracture. This releases the pressure from the impact and saves your eyeball. If you crush a beach ball against a concrete wall, you can pop it, but if you try crush it against a styrofoam wall, the wall breaks, but the beach ball is fine. An amazing evolutionary adaptation to protect your eyesight. Some people are born with extra ribs called cervical ribs which grow from the C7 vertebrae in the neck. It's a weird and rare mutation that a lot of people don't even know they have, although it is also a cause of thoracic outlet syndrome, which is where pressure is applied to the nerves, veins, and arteries running into the arms. It can be really painful, and in some rare cases, can cause gangrene in the arms. If left untreated it can kill you, if you're really unlucky. Source: I have the non-cervical rib-induced variety. My sister has that. She had to have both of her extra ribs removed. The circulation in her arms would get cut off if she raised them to shoulder height or above. She would just stop having a pulse in her arm. The doctor asked if he could do a write-up about her case for a medical journal. If you drink nothing but purple Powerade for 3 days straight, you poop will turn neon green. I hope this is true. Really late, but I discovered this thing during my thesis. We were researching patients with neurological problems and people who had brain injuries, and we found a woman in her 30s that had had part of her brain removed. More specifically, the area that activates when you move your body. Well, she was moving and talking with just some minor missteps, and theoretically it was not possible. She was paralyzed in the first 3 months after the operation. She was caught in a car accident, if I remember correctly. We were trying out a new scanner for the brain, and we found out that an area of the brain that wasn't supposed to work and control the movement was doing just that. The occipital area, usually controls the vision, was now working as a motor control area. A woman was found without a cerebellum, the part of the brain that controls motor abilities of the body. She is alive and has no real side effects from this condition that we know of. Edit. Okay, to clarify, her cerebellum was not removed, nor did I do it. She was born without one, and the medical professionals, again, not me, found out after she complained about a headache which led to an MRI. It is worth noting that the cerebellum doesn't control voluntary movement, that is the motor cortex. The cerebellum's main role is basically to try to match intention from the motor cortex to the action that is actually being performed by the muscles. Still interesting, though. There is a muscle called palmaris longus in the forearm missing in about 10% of the population. You can easy test if you have it by putting your pinky and thumb together while holding your palm facing up and flex the hand upwards. If one tendon is standing out more than the others, that's palmaris longus. And some people, like me, only have one eye. If you tear something in your arm, cannot for the life of me remember what it is, and you have the palmaris longus drive, can, and often do, use that as the new tendon/ligament. Here is an example. Archaeologist here. You can give birth after you've died. Occasionally we will come across a really confronting burial, where the skeleton of an unborn child is halfway through its mother's pelvis. Generally what happens is the woman has died before giving birth, and after burial a buildup of gases from decomposition forces the baby out. We refer to this as coffin birth. Natural redheads require increased doses of anesthesia due to some connection with the mutated melanocortin-1 receptor. I'm a natural redhead myself and developed a fear of dentists because I'd always feel what they were doing. Eventually I had an issue that couldn't be ignored and had to find a new dentist. At my first visit he took one look at me and said, "You're a real redhead, huh?" Yup. Hygienist, get me 4x the Novocaine. I knew I'd found my man, and he's been treating me ever since. Also shed my fears, since dental work is much less unpleasant when you're actually numb before they start. Source, in case you think I'm full of it. The war that's constantly happening inside of you. Everyone knows about your immune system, but the sheer complexity of it is amazing. Like, your body has neutrophils, which are like the generic white blood cell that constantly goes around your blood vessels seeking out foreign objects. But did you know there are cells called macrophages which are like way better neutrophils in the fact that neutrophils mostly swallow bacteria to kill them. Macrophages do this too, except they can swallow close to 100. You have stuff like dendritic cells whose main goal is to be an early warning system. They swallow an invader, then carry a piece of it back to T cells to activate them. Once they're activated, T cells swarm that specific invader and kill anything that has that antigen. I didn't even aim close to all of the cells that are doing constant battle. A small percentage of people are super sleepers and are fully recharged after 2 to 4 hours of sleep each night. They get to burn the candle at both ends. Edit, adding source, since this seems to be a topic of interest. Source, sleeper, I know a guy like that. Goes to bed at like 1 AM and wakes up at 5 AM. No alarm. Just wakes up, totally refreshed. FCK that guy. When we're in an unfamiliar environment we sleep with half our brain at a time, kinda like sharks, and that's why we wake up easier. Edit, thank you for my first silver kind person. By unfamiliar, do you mean a hotel, or do you mean somewhere sketchy like say you had to sleep in a field? Both. I immune privilege. Your immune system doesn't know your eyes exist. There's a chance that if you get an eye injury or an infection near your eyes, the immune system will think your eyes are a foreign body and you'll go blind. I've had a very severe case of acute anterior uveitis before, and one minor one. You don't want your immune system to notice your eyeballs. No lasting damage, but a year of prednisone wasn't fun. But I can say I've had a rare disease now, so that's kind of cool. Babies are born without kneecaps. They develop around 2 years. Edit, they have a cartilage-like thing that protects the knees. I've been told so many times that there's still something. Thanks, gonna go punch a baby in the knee now. That was already in your day planner. Vitality. You'd be surprised how much blood you can lose and fully recover reasonably quickly. If it drops below a certain threshold, even if replaced fast, you will appear to recover for a few hours then die of multiple organ failure. Edit, got this in an anatomy book that I was actually reading as distraction while recovering from surgery myself. It just said that if it went low enough, the refill wouldn't solve it. The person would appear to recover well, then have systemic failure and die. Your heart rate increases about a minute before partaking in exercise. It is known as the anticipatory rise and happens involuntarily. Edit, my very first gold, thank you. This is absolutely fascinating because I've learned about something called anticipated compensatory conditioned response, and that's quite literally the opposite of that. It's so cool seeing how your body can automatically perform to opposite counteractions in their appropriate times. Till the work/home transition has an actual badass scientific name. Most of our body never gets more than 20 years old. Our cells divide in a process called mitosis and then die. With the exception of your nervous system, the oldest organ in your body is the lungs, in terms of age of your cells. Your skin never gets more than a few weeks old. Your mouth never gets more than a few days old. Essentially, the reason we age is not because the cells are old, but they lose their ability to perform functions as effectively as they go through the mostly genetically determined aging process. Your cells are only designed to divide a set number of times due to structures called telomeres. It's a little more complicated than this, but I'm not writing a textbook, nor am I qualified to do so. Please like and subscribe for more. This is Laugh with Memes. Goodbye.